CH-NOPs, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. Please make sure to note disclaimer before we explore elements of life.
All living organisms are woven from just a few elemental threads.
If you've stumbled upon this video, it's probably because you're trying to understand a little bit more about biology. Well, here's the thing. For AP biology or college biology, the fundamentals of biology focuses in on the chemistry background, or biochemistry. All living organisms contain main types of elements that you find on the periodic table, as our famous scientist of the periodic table has recently shown us. Here's the thing. Our bodies are made up of main macromolecules of carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. And these all work together to essentially work within our body, but also with other organisms as well. Please note, for a later unit, you will be talking about not only these macromolecules, but how they integrate not only within our cells, but how systems within our body work with one another and how organisms work with one another with these macromolecules. So this is a fundamental piece of knowledge that you're expected to note. For now, you just need to know that these macromolecules help build bigger subunits and help us when we need life functions like growth and repair, energy, and reproduction.
CH and OPS, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur.
Let's talk about some key elements as it relates to biological systems. The first element that is very important is the element of hydrogen. Hydrogen is very important because it's composed in water. Think about the fact that you have 2 hydrogens for every 1 oxygen, so it's very important. And also, let's make note of this idea. Did you know that the human body can be anywhere from 55 to 65% of us? And this is important because hydrogen, if it is in water, is in a lot of organic molecules. Now let's talk about its friendly neighbor, oxygen. Oxygen is located on the right side of the periodic table. And the purpose of oxygen also is to provide water. But I want you to think about for a second when you're breathing. When you breathe in oxygen. So oxygen is also very essential for the process of respiration or breathing. And in fact, we have a whole unit dedicated to respiration itself. Now, let's talk about another element, carbon. Carbon is a very unique element as it's able to create a structure that's able to bond to 4 different extensions. And it forms the backbone of a lot of macromolecules. So it is a very critical process for us to understand the importance of carbon. Not only do we breathe in oxygen, remember, we breathe out carbon dioxide, and carbon is a key element in that. Now let's talk about nitrogen. Nitrogen is important because it is the major building block of a lot of nucleic acids or proteins. And so that's why nitrogen is very important. Let's talk about phosphorus. Phosphorus is in DNA, RNA, and ATP, basically in our forms of energy and our genetic material. Now let's talk about sulfur. Sulfur is in some amino acids and is also in some proteins as well.
Life relies on CH-NOPs elements to form macromolecules, carbs, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids.
Let's talk about the 4 biological macromolecules. With each of the macromolecules, carbs, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids, there is a fundamental building block, which is also known as a monomer. Each one of the monomers has one of those key elements that we talked about before to create the key structure as indicative by the macromolecule. While we won't go into details about it in this section, you will cover it at a later section, specifically 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, and 1.7. So there's no need to memorize it at this time. This table is just basically an introduction to help you understand that there are key elements that make up the macromolecules at the monomer form, which allow us to create multiple building blocks together to finalize and create a functionality for each specific macromolecule. Let's try to tackle the following quiz question. It states, without the CHNOPS elements, cells would be unable to, and which one is the best select answer? Have you made your answer choice? The best answer is C. Grow, reproduce, or maintain structure. Hope this lesson helps.
Appreciate you riding along for our cosmic journey. If today's mission brought you the knowledge that slaps, make sure to hit that like button to boost that signal. Subscribe if you're locked in for our next launch. And don't miss the link tree. It's got all the goods for AP Bio, PSAT Math, and FSAT Math. Before I sign out, make sure you're all in one orbit and diving in. Killing out. Till next time.